You see the screen? Okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Welcome everybody, and thank you for coming. We are so excited that we have an amazing guest here today from Australia, Bianca Cottle from BYO Containers.org. So thank you for joining. This is our agenda today. So I am going to cover the announcements first. I would like everybody to save the date for first Tuesdays bi-monthly at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central, every 2 months, every other month, first Tuesdays for our bi-monthly US Reduces meeting. Sometimes our notification might be late. We are all volunteers and we are running around with local works too. So, but we will always have this meeting every other month. So please save the dates on your calendar. First Tuesdays bi-monthly at 7 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., depending where you are for our meetings. Okay, number 2. We desperately need volunteers for website management for usreduces.org and also for our social media. Get in touch with me if you can help. I'm thinking about like 5 hours a week. There will be ebbs and flows, but right now I really need help with website management because a lot of things that I would like to post on the social media would come from our website, and if I can't update the website, I can't post it on the social media, and that is like stopping me from posting. So I really like support. If you are technical, you are good at this kind of stuff, please let me know. And please check the correct link for Bianca's amazing sticker templates. I sent the wrong link in the newsletter. My apologies. And some people let me know. So I sent a second newsletter with a correct link, but I want...
That was probably my mistake.
Oh, no. It was mine.
Are you sure?
Sorry. Yes, I am positive it was my mistake. So,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Could have been me.
No. So please get the link. It's a really awesome template and it's so easy to use. So please get the link. And we have announcements, which is really awesome. Congratulations to 2 groups. They just launched new groups in New York City. So we would like them to talk about it a little bit. And we want to ask Karen to talk about Upper West Side and Amy to talk about Harlem Reduces. So if you're ready, Karen, if you could talk about it a little bit.
Sure. Oh, you got the pictures. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so this is great. Yeah, just by way of introduction or by way of background, I'm part of a group called It's Easy Being Green. And you have a few of our other members here today because we work together on a number of different issues like composting and just educating our community about environmental issues. And I'm involved with the plastics, and we've done other events. We actually did the story of plastics where we had a webinar last winter, and we were looking for something new to do. And we thought we were going to do something with restaurants, which was fairly complicated. And then lo and behold, on the Beyond Plastics website, I saw BYO Containers. And I looked at that and I thought, this is what we need to do. It's so simple, straightforward. Anybody can do it. It only takes a couple of things to get ready. So we all kind of agreed right away. There are about 6 of us involved. We came, I believe, to your second US Reduces meeting. And I watched the video, and several of us did watch the video of your first meeting, and were very inspired by it. So to prep, we found Bianca Pasternak, who you all know of. I don't know if she's here tonight, but she's a wonderful artist. And she designed our sticker. And then some of us in the group are very good writers. Kate, who's actually here tonight, is one of our best writers. And she helped write a business flyer, which we, of course, copied a lot of Yayo's flyer. We didn't have to invent anything, but we, kind of did it our own way. So we have a flyer for businesses. We have yet to finish a flyer for consumers, which we hope to do. So that was it. We have our flyer, we have our stickers, and I created a spreadsheet, a very simple spreadsheet that we could all use to keep track of our stores and what happened at each store. So we all go out with a clipboard and our tracker, our spreadsheet, and we've visited, well, a total of 17 stores so far. But actually, I wouldn't count the last 6. That's most recent, because they've all said we have to write to their owner or manager. So that's what we're in the process of doing, writing emails to 6 stores that the decision maker just isn't there. And so you have to go to find the decision maker. So that's what we're doing right now. So of the 11 stores we've really been active with, we've had 5 yeses, 4 nos, and 2 maybes. So I think that's pretty good. We have a 45% hit rate. And the range has been all over the place. Anything from, I'll do it right now, like the fellow, well, 2 of the people in the picture, the lovely girl in the first picture at Ammonia Cafe, and Sam at Samad's. He was very enthusiastic to do it. Actually, that sticker is not the sticker on his window, but anyhow, that's an enlarged picture of our sticker, which we are very proud of. We love our sticker. So we've had 5 of them, and we're still going to go back to 2 more, plus another 6. But I think we have. One thing I'm amazed about: how many coffee shops there are. I don't go out for coffee. I make my coffee at home, but a lot of people go out for coffee, and there's many coffee shops. And we're just talking about the Upper West Side. And again, I didn't emphasize that in the beginning, but our focus is just on coffee and tea shops, and mostly coffee shops. The lovely lady in the bottom right corner has a bakery, which is fabulous, and everybody loves it. It's called Silver Moon, and she does serve coffee as well. And Samaz, the fellow in the middle, he has a Middle Eastern gourmet grocery store, but he serves a lot of coffee. And then the other 2, Ammonia and Zelma's, they're both your typical lovely coffee shops. And then there's one more that didn't make the picture, I guess, but there's 5 altogether. Broadway Pizza, as a matter of fact, was the 5th one. And it's a pizza shop, but he has a cappuccino machine. So he makes wonderful cappuccinos, and he was happy to do it. So we have all these people in our newsletter. We're publishing, we have a website, and they will be set up on the website, but we also publish a monthly newsletter. So we will be advertising. These people were in our May issue, and we plan on having some, every month we'll mention the people who have these places and that we should be patronizing them. So that's what we're excited. We have a lot more to do. We have a big territory to cover. The Upper West Side is 2 square miles. So there's a lot we can do, and many coffee shops and tea shops to try. So that is our story to date. Oh, and Sharon, yes, she mentioned that our newsletter reaches 450 subscribers in the neighborhood. So
Wow.
Very nice.
Awesome.
Yep, thanks.
I just thought of something. If anyone has a group set up and you've already got your social media handles, could you put those in the chat? Because I would love to share stories like that. Karen, like, you know, I think we could all share each other's stuff.
You're interested in our email,
Well, just,
letter, or
I'm thinking if you have your social media set up, we could all share each other's posts.
Yes, I'd like to, you know, on the US reduces, we want to share to.
Here, I'll put ours in. I'll put mine in too.
okay, I think we don't really have one. We do have an IBG one. One of my,
I think, are you talking about Instagram and Twitter, which we're not really on yet? We're sort of tiptoeing into Instagram first, but we just have nothing to share yet.
Yeah.
we do
Yeah,
have
I'm
a
just thinking-
Twitter account. Sharon, does have an IEBG Twitter account. IEBG means it's easy being green. We're so used to saying this.
Okay.
Sorry, we say it so quickly. We practically slur it, but it's easy being green is the name of our organization. We've been around since 2019, so we're still relatively new. And as I said, we do other things. Our newsletter is very big.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Our newsletters are a big production, but we really don't have much going on Twitter or Instagram yet. But we're
newsletter. I think newsletters are actually better.
And our website is, yes, it's
Yeah, people are committed.
I can put the website in.
I'm Sharon Wasco. I'm the founder and leader of It's Easy Being Green. If anybody here wants to get the newsletter, it comes out once a month. If you don't like it, it's not for you. You can unsubscribe. You can subscribe at, and I'll put it in here now.
I put the website in.
Yeah, at the website, there's a place where you click newsletters, and it's easy to put your name in, or you could put your name here and I'll subscribe you. And you can see what that's about. And we also have a Twitter account. I can never remember what it's at something. I will look it up in the course of the meeting and I will put it here, but I don't remember how, what the name of it is, but it's, you look up It's Easy Being Green on Twitter and we come up.
Okay,
So,
great.
Right. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
This is exciting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we have one more excitement. Harlem reduces.
And I just want to mention, I'm so thrilled that there's Harlem Reduces. I mean, we can really get to know each other and work together. I mean, we're fairly close to Harlem in the Upper West Side, so good to know.
Yeah, absolutely. That sounds exciting. Yeah, collaboration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amy, would you like to take it away?
Yes. Hi.
If
Oh.
you can see. Can I pause share? Maybe not. Okay. Stop share. There you go. All right. Go ahead.
Yes. So I am doing Harlem Reduces. I just started. I wanted to start a plastics tackling group in East Harlem, where I live on 110th, and like go throughout and try to create a neighborhood group. But it's super new, so I've just kind of been like building the groundwork and found US Reduces and had a lot of help from Yayoi in getting everything started, which I'm still like trying to build up, I guess, social media and online presence. But we had a cleanup, and I'm kind of having like cleanups to get people that are interested in that kind of thing and go from there, and then like have people that stick and want to do more. So we just finished designing the sticker, and so I'm hoping to have an event in the next few weekends in June. So I'm planning that. But yeah, kind of just building slowly but steadily. There were like 3 people that showed up to the cleanup, which was like a pleasant surprise for me. So yeah, but yeah, I would love to do any collaboration with It's Easy Being Green, or yeah, and kind of, yeah, just plan more events in Harlem. There, on our first cleanup, a guy came up to me that worked at the community like youth center and said that he like loved what we were doing and wanted to like have the students like do something like this, and gave me his card, but his card fell out of my pocket into the trash. So I'm trying to email him, find him like during the day, and have something like that organized because it's right down the street from me. So some traction is being gained, and I'm just trying to have like little momentum throughout the summer. So having, BYO Reduces is such a good, I think, like backbone to starting a group. And I'm excited to talk to like the local businesses here, because a lot of people just are very unaware of that in the businesses. So yeah, thank you so much, YO and US Reduces.
Thank you. That's so exciting. I want to share with you, like we held trash pick was all we used to do in the very beginning, especially during the COVID. Everything was shut down, and there were times that I was the only one who showed up to the trash cleanup. So 3 is really good. Yeah, but now like we usually have more people, but like just keep going and keep going and keep going.
That's inspiring. It's slow but steady for sure.
Yes, trash picker is fun. We find all kinds of interesting things. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna put the screen back. Thank you. And so slow. Yeah. Okay. All right. And this is a beautiful sticker based on Baltimore Reduces template. It's very nice. And okay, so now let's move on to the main thing today. We have a special guest from Australia, and we are super excited. And it's partly because state of South Australia amended their civil liability law for the purpose of BYO, to so that businesses won't be sued from the claims of cross-contamination. I thought this was brilliant, and when I saw this news, I have to find out more. So I got in touch with like a BYO Containers.org that I noticed on social media, and I thought that these people might know something, and they did, and they shared with me like all the detailed informations, and I was really, really, really happy to have that information, because here in the US, so many states have very explicit laws prohibiting BYO practice. And here you see the deli meat on the grocery store counters in BYO container, just like that. And I keep seeing on BYO Containers.org's Instagram post that, like, you're actually bringing containers, BYO containers for restaurants takeout and grocery deli takeouts, and those are the things that we are not allowed. Most of the US only allows the beverages in cups and like a dispenser of dry goods, grains and beans and things like that from dispensers at co-ops, and those it's very limited, and we hope that we can change the law. There are some signs of changes. California is okay with a food takeout, and also I think that Illinois just passed in both houses for a BYO law, which seems pretty liberal and permissive to me. And I think I wonder, like, I think there's nobody from Illinois today, but I want to find out more. It's not on the news for some reason, but it passed both houses. I checked the bill tracker, and it passed. So it's just waiting for the signs from the governor. So that's really exciting. And so I want to learn more about Australia and how the BYO is done in Australia. So we contacted BYOContainers.org again and got in touch with Bianca, and she agreed to come and join. And so we are so grateful. We're super excited. And so thank you. So yeah, if Bianca would like to talk about it, yeah, please go ahead. Please take it away. I'm gonna close this. And before I go further, I want to just ask you a quick question about this geography issue. Because so everyone, this is South Australia. This is the state that has this like a really radical, cool amendment to their liability law to allow BYO. So I was thinking Bianca is from South Australia, but she was actually from Melbourne. I think I'm messing up the pronunciation. I apologize. And that is in Victoria, state of Victoria. So if Bianca could tell us a little bit about the difference between South Australia and Victoria, and how the BYO is practiced in general in Australia, that would be really awesome and wonderful. So I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, go ahead, Bianca. Please take it away.
Thank you for inviting me today, and thank you for the fantastic introduction. So I'm all the way from Melbourne. I'm speaking from actually Bunurong country. So I'd like to just first pay my respect to the Indigenous population and for their continuing custodianship of the land where I am, and their elders past, present and emerging. I founded BYO Containers back in 2018, and it was really, I kind of had started taking this journey into what can I do to help with environment and sustainability after I had a bit of a health scare, and it kind of changed my the way I looked at my life and what I wanted to achieve. And so I was thinking about how can I play my part in this, and started researching all things plastic, learned so much information, started volunteering for a local company that recycles plastic and makes things like bollards and park furniture, and then learn about our local organisation called Zero Waste Victoria, found their social media, learnt more, started going to events and festivals, and was getting more connected with them. And then I saw a lot of people asking these questions, always on our Facebook chats. I want to take my container shopping. How can I do it? Where can I go? And a lot of anxiety. And, what if I get rejected? What if they say no? I'm sure you'll probably face a lot of similar things where you are. Shops are not sure. They don't want to take a risk. And so I decided to just make a simple comment like, oh, I'm sure we could start listing the places that let us take our containers, and we could keep a list. And that was the first start of the idea. And I had no idea it would snowball into this massive thing. But a lot of people were like, yeah, that's a really good idea. We should do it. Let's start making a list. And from there, I also did a deep dive into what is the legislation. So Australia's governed by, we have our national framework, which actually is for Australia and New Zealand. We have the same framework about food safety. And in that, it doesn't expressly prohibit customers taking their own containers to a store. It just says that the business is liable to make sure that containers, food is packaged in a way that is suitable and safe. And it's actually sufficiently grey, it's intentionally grey when it comes to whose liability it is to make sure that containers are sterile and sanitised. And so the way that that's interpreted in many cases is that the business themselves would have to take responsibility, or there's a chance that if there was a case of food poisoning or so forth, that it could go to court in our civil law, and then the business could be found liable So actually there's a lot of businesses, even though it doesn't expressly prohibit it, it's their decision, and a lot of them don't want to take that risk, which is understandable. Especially small business, they can't afford to take that risk. In large business, unless there's the push from customers, why would they? They wouldn't do it. So we found that whilst we were getting a lot of companies and businesses wanted to sign up and wanted to support, and some of them did, they were prepared to take that risk. There was a lot who were saying no just because they weren't sure, didn't feel comfortable with it. So what we found, we've sort of started the website and we've continued growing it. And one of our big actions was looking at, you know, some of the blockers, and that is the legal liability. So we didn't realise, but actually South Australia passed this law a couple of years ago. I think it only came out in 2022, perhaps. And as a very small organisation, we're just a small handful of volunteers, about 5 of us. And we're doing it, you know, we all have other full-time jobs and commitments. So one of the things that we've decided really to focus on was, it's fantastic as South Australia's done it, could we do it too? So we had a look at how it happened over there, and I actually contacted the Member of Parliament who introduced the bill in South Australia, and they were part of our Greens Party. So in Australia, we tend to have, it's largely 2 major parties and then a couple of smaller parties. So we have Liberal and Labor, and I guess it's a little bit similar to your Democrats and Republicans. They will always be the ones in power. Sometimes they will need the support of the smaller parties to get the numbers, but it's really a 2-horse race. And then we have our Greens Party, which tend to get around like 5 to 10% of the vote, depending on which state you're in. So they have a little bit of a voice, but they don't have a very loud voice yet. And so they actually, in South Australia, in that state, you're allowed to have members of parliament, any member of parliament can introduce a bill. But in Victoria, where I'm from, and what I've just recently learned is that only the leading party can introduce new bills. So in South Australia, what happened was they first introduced the bill back in 2018. It didn't get passed. They asked for some changes, and it was not really, didn't happen. And then they reintroduced it again after an election in 2021, gave it another try, and then with a lot of negotiation from both the 2 major parties, they managed to get it passed. And the reason they got it passed then was really because South Australia is seen as like it's not our most green area of the country, but they definitely are really good in renewable energy. They have fantastic solar, and they've got a high amount of renewables in the grid. They have some independent candidates, members of parliament as well, who are quite a good, strong voice. And they wanted at that time, the leading parties did want the support of the Greens. So that kind of helped them have the power to actually go and present a bill and have some negotiations. So they didn't get any big pushback. And the way that they wrote the bill was that it's just really a common sense legislation change. It basically says that the liability for a container being clean that's brought by a customer is on the customer themselves. So the business, as long as they see the container looks suitable, like it's not broken, it looks like it'll seal, it looks clean by inspection, then the liability for it actually being sanitary is on the customer who brings it in themselves. And for sure, if there is an outbreak of food poisoning or anything like that, it would be investigated, and then that would be the liability of the business if they sold tainted goods. So it's a very common sense change. It actually is one that supports business, because business can reduce their number of plastic containers. They can encourage a group of customers who want to shop that way without taking any extra risk. And it supports customers and it also supports the environment. So it's really a win for everyone. So what we're trying to do now is get the same bill passed or put forward, a very similar one in my state of Victoria. I had some discussions with our Greens Party here, and they're very supportive. And I've also written some emails to the party who's in power here, which is the Labor Party. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. It's a little complicated because there's actually, because it's a change to business responsibility, it's not about food or environment alone, it's also about civil liability. And so it's actually a couple of portfolios and a couple of ministers that need to be involved in this discussion. So I'm waiting to hear back from both of them and sort of see where it goes. Hopefully we'll hear something in maybe the next 5 or 6 weeks. I think they said it would take about 8 weeks for a response. And my plan is to push it through the Victorian Parliament, if I can, through the leading party, the Labor Party there. We've had some changes as well to our federal politics. We finally in Australia got the Labor Party back in, who are a little bit more incentivized to look at environmental actions. We had for many years Liberal Party constantly in power, and they very much still, climate denial is very rife still in Australia, which seems surprising, but it is here. So it'll be an interesting conversation. And in the meantime, we also relaunched our website last year, and we took the campaign national. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of history, a little bit about that as well, because when I first started the campaign, I had never built a website, never done any of this kind of work before. I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, and I'd never made a logo, never anything. So I looked around at the time and saw, is anyone doing anything similar, or had any idea about what to do or how to start. And I found another organization called Trashless Takeaway. And so the reason I bring this up is because I think one of the most powerful things I've found through starting this campaign is actually finding similar like-minded people and organizations to help you on your journey and supplement what skills you don't have or teach you or connect you with people who can help you. So Trashless Takeaway already had a map, and they were looking at just takeaway restaurants who let you bring your own containers. And they started in Tasmania, which is the smallest state in Australia. And they had a website and they had this amazing online map already. And so they agreed to share that infrastructure with us. And we were focused in Victoria on butchers and delis because that's where we were getting the most knockbacks from. You know, a lot of our cafes and restaurants here, the keep cups are very popular. So you can get your coffee in a keep cup in most places already. It was a little bit difficult during COVID times, but generally speaking, a lot of our cafes are pretty open to keep cups. And a lot of restaurants, not all, but there are a lot who will let you bring in a takeaway container as well if you've got your own container. So we were targeting butchers and delis because that's where we were getting the most knockbacks from. And certainly our major supermarkets don't allow it either. So I spoke to Trashless Takeaway. We set up on our website a shared map that I could put butchers and delis on. And then last year when we were looking at relaunching and improving, we had someone come on, a graphic designer, help with logo redesign. And Trashless Takeaway were actually looking to step aside. They just had, it was a husband and wife team. They just have 2 small children. And so they were looking to spend some more time with their children. And so they actually said, you could have the whole thing and do all of the categories, take away everything, but could you take it nationally? So that's where we sort of work together, and they've stayed on to support us from a technical side with the website and the map. And we've actually added more categories. So we've also added now pet foods, things like beauty products, and even alcohol refills. So we're trying to grow this idea that you can buy anything in a container as long as it's organized and done, you know, you've got some protocols in place, you do it safely and cleanly. And I even signed up a few months ago a company who they have a farm business, they do olives, and they have big barrels of olive oil. So you can go and get your olive oil filled into containers, which is pretty cool. We're seeing like a lot more businesses pop up who want to do these kind of creative things, and it's growing that way. So yeah, that's a little bit about sort of the story of how BYO Containers began. It was really just from a Facebook comment that I made and just grew it from there. And what we're trying to do, because we are such a small team, we have limited resources. So we have on our website, we have a free poster, we send out free stickers, and we have brochures for customers and also for business. And we really just try and get encourage people in the community to go out to their stores. So we don't have dedicated, we don't have areas or territories or anything like that. Anyone can go to the website, can sign up a store, and then if it's a customer who signed up the store, we send the business an email and ask them if they'd like to make their listing official as a business one, or if a business signs up, then their listing is automatically official and it's more prominent on the website. It's a bit more coloured. So we have all our pins on a map, and we've got now, it's over 1,700 businesses across Australia. So it's very exciting, hoping to get to 2,000 soon. It will be a big party for us. Yeah, so I think what I'm hearing from a lot of businesses who want to do this kind of thing, they're a bit concerned about the liability. So I'm focused this year on really trying to push, see what I can do with getting a bill introduced in Victoria. And if you know anything about Australia, in terms of population, our biggest populations are in New South Wales, where Sydney is and the Opera House, and then Melbourne is the second largest. And often those two states do tend to copy each other. And with South Australia having that amazing precedent, which did take, you know, they first introduced it in 2018. So I know it requires some patience and time. It might need to be introduced more than once and have some negotiations. But I feel very strongly if we can get it in Victoria, and now is a really good political time because we have federally where we've got the Labor Party who are pushing some green initiatives. We also came out with Victoria's circular economy policy with last year, which I wrote a submission and got a quote in. So that's very exciting. I think it's a good time to push, and if we can get Victoria, I think New South Wales would follow, and then other states and territories I'm really confident would also follow as well. And maybe we'll even go to New Zealand because they have similar legal frameworks there. So very, very exciting. Yeah, did anyone have any questions or sort of want to, I could talk about kind of the story and my passion about reducing waste, and I'm very interested in the psychology behind it as well. Yeah, has anyone got questions?
Yes, I do. Well, thank you so much for sharing this. This is super exciting for me because I've been trying to track some of the legislations in the US, different states, and US food code is extremely complicated and complex. Every state have different laws, and there's like a federal guidelines and laws and different from different years and issues, and some states follows which one, etc., etc. And so I appreciate when you tell us that, it's been a 4-year struggle, even in South Australia from 2018 to and then done in 2021 or 2. So I really I feel what has happened and what you are working on right now right now we are working on getting the BYO to be acceptable, but you are like on like a different plane. Like you are working on you removing the liability across the country and in New Zealand. And I think that's really super amazing and interesting. And it's a very, very different world when it comes to BYO here. So my question is, let's see. I was checking out the map app like on that website, and I was wondering. I saw 3 in Australia, like Africa actually. Three.
Oh,
It's
they're just
like a global map.
you can ignore those. They were just test pins that we have there. It's all to do with development on the back end. They were trying to test something, but so the map is restricted just to Australia. You can only and I can share. Would you like me to share the website and everyone can see a little bit what it
Please
looks like? Sure.
take us around, give us a tour or
Yeah, I'll
something.
give you a little tour. Let me just pull it into screen here. Do you guys see this?
I'm not sure. Like I'm not seeing it. The
Are you not
website.
seeing it?
Yeah, do you know how to use share there?
Oh, yeah, now I
We're
started
getting
to
it
see.
now.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay. And this looks amazing. Like it doesn't look like
I
never made
I
it
feel
website
bad for
before.
taking all the credit. It certainly was not something that I created on my own. I do not have that kind of skill. So Kim Maish, I mentioned, he founded Trashless Takeaway with his wife Nisa in Tasmania, and they had a very similar looking map. And he actually has experience with web design, and so he had a developer as well. And they gave us a really we paid some money, but it was a very, very supportive rate to help us get this relaunch off the ground. The first website, and I can show you as well, like, and I think it's important to kind of see where things come from. Let me just show you. This was the very first incarnation. Like I just had one of the members in our Facebook group shared her photographs. She was an amateur photographer, a high school student actually, and she got really excited. So we put some of her photos on the website. Actually, this was my idea for the logo, and I'd been talking to Kim Maish, and he had graphic design. So he said, "Oh, I'll quickly do you a logo for you and put it together." And so that was great. And then I worked out enough how to use Weebly. I'm not sure if you've heard of Weebly, but it helps you, a website builder. And I just set all that up and then designed a poster. We had another member of our Facebook group put that poster together for us, and we just put it on the one website. And then this was one of the very first businesses. This is my local butcher, and we signed them up. And so that was back in 2018. So very, very simple, but that was the idea. And then we moved to the website that I'll show you now. So this was much more organized, and the developer that I had from the Trashless Takeaway team helped us put this together in WordPress. And the way the map works is it's just there on the landing page, and you'll see this is where I live in Langwarrin. You can zoom in and out. It's just a Google map in the background. And then there's some search capabilities. So here's all the businesses across Australia. You see concentrated down in Victoria and Tasmania, where we started, and we've had more members in the group on the ground to go out and talk to stores. But you'll see we even have like a few in the middle of Australia, Northern Territory. And for those who know a bit about Australia, the main populations are here on the East Coast, and it's much more sparse throughout the rest of the country. And then you can search by business or suburbs. So if I put in, let's put in Melbourne, for example, we can look at Melbourne, Victoria, and it'll take me there, and then I can see a list as well, and we have a list view. And then we also have categories. You can choose categories. So for takeaway, this is Trashless Takeaway. So this is where we sort of they started, and they had various categories that you can select. And then I was sort of more focused more on the groceries, particularly the butchers and the delis. And then we have these other businesses types that we've also been able to add. Not very many listed, but we're really hopeful that that'll grow in time as well. And then on each of the individual listings, so this is a takeaway. This is my local Chinese actually. Delight in, and it just pulls through all the Google details. We add in Facebook if they have it, their website, their phone, and then this was what I mentioned here. I put this one in as a user submitted. The manager of the cafe, like the takeaway, wasn't confident doing a business submitted listing for some of those reasons. And then if I look at, let's go to another one that is business submitted, perhaps I can find. Yeah, I know this one. This is another store. This is my local fishmonger.
So I have a question.
Mhm.
Can people just come to your website and just enter the,
Yeah.
like anonymously enter like the businesses that allow the BYO, like
Yeah.
someone? Okay.
That's exactly how it works. So we just go to add a business, and then here's the form. And so they
wow.
might search up like, I don't know, Marysville Country Bakery. There you go. I won't put them through, but it will pull the details from Google, so it's very quick. They can add a Facebook page if they want to, but all the listings, myself and one other member of my team, we check them all and make sure that they're legitimate, because we do get some listings generated by bots and things like that. We filter out a lot of them, but occasionally you'll get, and I'm not sure if people are actually manually entering these through, but we do have to filter out some rubbish ones that aren't legitimate. Kate, you had a question?
Yes. So you don't have a sticker that they need to post, right? Because for us, the sticker is a great idea, but it actually is also a barrier. We have talked to some places that would, they would like to, they're happy to have you bring your own container, but they hesitate to do the sticker. So we haven't put them on our website, and maybe we're thinking about it wrong.
Well,
Yeah, but we offer stickers when they're a business submitted listing. So if just a customer enters it anonymously, then we will try, because not all businesses have websites and emails, which is it's surprising, but it's true. If there is an email, we can contact them. We have a template email that we just send to them and invite them to make their listing a business submitted one, and offer them stickers. And as well, we offer them if they'd like to do a case study. So we have some case studies as well from a couple of companies. And so we're trying to grow that as well. So we invite them to do that. And then we offer to send them, we've got two types of stickers. We have one that goes on counters, just so it's a single-sided, and then one that goes on windows or indoors, which is a double-sided one.
I couldn't find anything on your
have
website. I couldn't find anything on your website about the sticker. Is it there on the website?
No, because we just, when businesses sign up, it's part of the form. Would you like a sticker to be sent? They're actually, they are old stickers that we have from Trusted Takeaway. I'll see if I can find a photo of one. Maybe there's one in here on the store.
I think I
I'm not
saw
sure
it
if
on
I have
your
a photo.
social media.
Yeah, there'd definitely be some on the social media. It's a little round sticker, and it actually has those colours from the pins that I showed you, the Trusted Takeaway pins, because they were ones that Kim Maish got printed before he handed over to us. And when they run out, we'll make a new one. But for now, they say BYO Container, and it's well aligned with our branding as it is. So we thought we didn't want to waste them. And the reason that there's 2 stickers is because the one that goes on the counters, the single-sided, is actually paper. So it's fully compostable. And then the one on the doors and windows, they're double-sided, it needs to be plastic. So we give them the option of what or whether they want both. And then when they fill in that form, it just, they'll tick a box and it comes to, we get an email generated when they fill the form. And on our back end in the website, we get a listing request, and then we just review those, and periodically one of our team members, our head of operations, I'll show you about us. So myself, Erin, she's our ops manager. She's got the stickers and she sent them out. And then this is Kim, who sort of did the back end technical side. And then Kaz, who does like some festivals and education stuff with us, various things. And then we've got a couple other students who are volunteering now as well. So it's a pretty small team. So we have to keep quite focused on where we want to spend our time and spend our efforts. Yeah. One other thing that I think it's really good to highlight as well, I've found is building networks and collaborations. So I've spent quite a bit of time, stop sharing my screen, stop share, building some networks with like-minded organizations. So one that's really coming to fruition now, we have responsible cafes in Australia, and they got really large a few years ago. About 5 years ago, there was a series on our national broadcasting, the ABC, Australian Broadcasting Commission, did a series called War on Waste, and they were featured there on that series, Responsible Cafes, and they started a lot of the conversation around keep cups. So that was something that had already happened about 5-6 years ago, and we're closely connected with them now as well, and we're about to do a support them with a new campaign that they have, which is Fridays. And that series on TV, War on Waste, is coming back for another season, and they're actually going to launch the campaign there. So we've got a shared poster and we'll support each other in that action, which is very exciting that we're kind of pushed together. And there's another group who's built an app called Zimbo, who helps track users using their own containers and their waste reduction. So we have a lot of these supporting networks as well. We're trying to help each other out.
That's
I think Susan has her hands up.
Yes, did anybody?
Yeah, I
somebody
have a
say-
question.
Okay.
Here in the US, a lot of the coffee shops, starting, including like Starbucks, I don't know if you have Starbucks in Australia, but they offer, they have started with small discount, 10 cents or whatever for people who bring their own cups. Now they're doing like I think Starbucks is doing some kind of promotional, you accumulate stars and you get a free coffee after a certain number of stars. Do any of your businesses do anything like that to incentivize people? Or do you find that your public is they're already kind of on board with this and they're just looking for it?
Yeah, it's a really good question. We do have on our website, so when someone lists their business as a business submitted, there's a small section within the listing. It shows at the bottom. Those ones I showed you didn't have it. It's not that popular yet, but where you can put offers or discounts. And so we definitely have some cafes who do things like 50 cents off if you bring your own cup, or they might do a 5% discount. But we find, certainly with a lot of the small businesses I've spoken to, because there's not reliably enough people doing it, and they usually take a little bit of extra time to actually put something in someone's cup. It does take a little bit extra time for the server. They're happy to offer it, but don't feel like they can afford to really offer a big financial incentive. Having said that, there definitely are a few businesses who are doing it. And one of our, I don't know if you've heard of the 7-Eleven, Shane. It's like a convenience store. So we have that here. They actually are advertising exactly that. I think it's 50 cents off if you bring a reusable cup. We don't have a affiliation with them. They're not on our website, someone that I want to reach out to, but we're sort of seeing, I think we're starting to see that shift now that we're sort of in a, things have settled down with COVID. People are less concerned about, you know, transmission and viruses and wanting to get back to using their keep cups. And we're starting to see businesses wanting to promote that more now. We definitely have areas, Melbourne in the city centre, there's some suburbs who are very environmentally conscious and pushing, and you'll see, it's not uncommon that you'll see cafes that would do incentives, things like that. Some of them have things like mug libraries now, where if you forget your cup, they have a whole bunch of mugs that they've gotten from an op shop and they don't mind, you can borrow it, bring it back next time you come visit. You can actually get your takeaway in a mug for free. There's also some businesses starting some programs where you have reusable containers. So there's one called Infinity Box, and they offer a container that is designed for reuse. It's plastic, but you can make a $2 deposit, and they're starting in certain towns. So they're trying to get in that particular town pilot, where it's like a pilot initiative where they're trying to get that whole town takeaways and restaurants using these boxes, and then they'll grow from there. So we're seeing a lot more of these kind of things pop up now, which is also really exciting. We did have our 2 major supermarkets as well. We're waiting to see which one of them will go first. So in the last 5 years, they've banned the thin plastic bags, and you have to either purchase the thick reusable plastic ones or paper. You have to pay for them, so they don't do free bags anymore. And that was a legislation change, and that got rolled out, and they did it ahead of legislation change. They actually said, oh, we're going to change just before legislation because they wanted to look good and green, and they kind of did it at the same time. There's 2 major supermarkets we have, Coles and Woolworths, and they've each done trials in different states in Australia for their delis to allow customers to bring a container. There's some different rules that they've had, and only in a select stores, like 2 or 3 stores, they've run a pilot. They haven't released the results, but I'm kind of waiting for something to happen there as well. We've tried to engage with them, but we didn't get any response from them, unfortunately. So I think it's on, you know, it's a potential, like these things, I think they're trialing these things because they know it's going to happen in the future. It has to happen. So I'm very hopeful that it will eventually come in, even in major stores.
Yeah, I see that Stephanie has her hand up for you.
Hi. So I put my question in the chat, but I was curious for Bianca and anyone else that has a group, if they have any plan for like follow up with the businesses. Like I see like BYO stickers, like the first step, but then like I'm curious what people's follow up are if we're trying to get them to get reusables in store. Like in the US, we have companies like Foreverware or I forget some of the other companies, to get them to do more. Like BYO is the first step, but are we trying to offer more support next and get them to reduce waste more is the question.
We do allow people to put on their listings. We have as well, if they have compostable packaging or if they have local produce. That's something we feel passionate about as well. And I know that Responsible Cafes, who we work with, they have been working with councils directly. So maybe in Australia, we have 3 tiers of government. We have the federal government, who oversee things like your income tax and key decisions for the country. And then you have state government, who do things like the hospitals, the schools, and will oversee this kind of legislation change for business liability. That's at state level. And then we have individual councils who will have a collection of maybe a dozen or so suburbs, under each council, and they are actually tasked with regulating small businesses for how they follow the federal act in regards to food safety. And then we have a couple of regulators for special kinds of business, which is butchers and delis fall under one, and then dairy products and delis dairy products and delis fall under one, and your butchers, like your fish and poultry, falls under another one. So those regulators are also responsible for ensuring that businesses follow the federal act. Excuse me. So it's a little bit complicated in terms of who regulates and audits all the business, but we're definitely sort of working with councils, and there is some movement. Some councils want to support their local businesses more and are providing information, and that's something that we'll probably pick up as well once we get the ball rolling on this legislation change. We'd like to work more with local council to help support them, support their businesses on the ground with other things like how might they reduce waste, how might they even have more clean energy, and so on. But yeah, it's a big task. So it is good that we're seeing some councils take it up independently on their own.
Great, thanks for answering. And I look forward to keeping in touch and checking out your website and everything you have on there more.
Yeah, definitely. If anyone wants to reach out, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We're on Facebook and Instagram. I must admit, I'm not very active on the socials. Erin sort of manages that a bit for me, but I am definitely on Facebook and LinkedIn. If you want to reach out, I think I'm the only Bianca Cottle there is, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Are you under your own name or under BYO?
I have got a Facebook and an Instagram for BYO Containers. I think the handle, and I can share this after the meeting, I think the Instagram handle is BYO Containers AU, and then Facebook it's just BYO Containers. But you can find the links to it from our website, which is byocontainers.org.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. In the interest of time, I see Sharon's hands up, but let's take her question, and then I have a couple of comments to add in response to some of the comments made. So go ahead, Sharon.
Okay, Bianca, congratulations on a very successful effort. So it looks fantastic. I'm curious, how do you account for I don't want to just say Australia in general, but your area of people actually remembering to carry their reusables and making that a habit? And do you monitor or track how many people are going into these places? And because if you don't have the sticker in the window, we've been thinking, oh, the sticker in the window announces to a passerby, you can bring your reusable. But if you don't have that in the store window, how do you know that this is happening?
Yeah, we haven't made big efforts to collect data like that. Like we've kind of reached out to some stores who collect their own data, but that's why to get the case studies. And we do encourage having the poster and the sticker or both in the windows to really catch passers-by. But I think that would be very interesting to know what are people's habits. There's definitely that app provider I mentioned before, Zimbo. They have a very exciting app, which I think will solve some of this. They actually, you get a keychain, Bob, with a QR code on it, and for for an individual, it actually tracks your usage. So every time you remember your bags, every time you remember your water bottle, you can scan it and it records your usage and you see it tracked over time. And their idea is to grow their user base and actually say to stores, we have these users. If you sign up with us, and they put a QR code in at the point of sale, so when you're paying, you just scan as well, and then it'll track it and then give incentives for the business to be able to track that user data, and then allow business as well who want to offer discounts. If you've been to us 10 times and remembered your cup, you get a free coffee or whatever they want to do. So I think that's really exciting, and I am watching what they do, because I think that's such a simple way to track, but also gamify it for a user so they can see, okay, and they actually quantify. They say, like, if you've used your cup, or, you know, it tells you your emissions reduction as an individual. So by using my containers, I've reduced this much CO2, which I think is really cool.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. With everything you said, success in Australia will be really helpful for getting our agendas forward in the US. So I wish your, liability removal actions will be very, very successful. Thank you so much. It was really interesting. About some of the comments made, I have some comments to that. So like Sharon's question was like no stickers and there's no indication for the customers coming on. But I think it's important to keep in mind that, like, in Australia, there is no prohibitive codes or laws that says that businesses cannot allow BYO. So as a principle, any business can accept the containers. So I think there's a difference in the, for us, like, it's a really significant action. I think it's more, I think it's a different weight to that each stickers. And also I want to mention that, like, putting sticker on is also a way to build communities. So, people will notice those stickers. So across in your neighborhood, and that we hope that will lead to more actions in lowering or going toward zero in our waste production, like lower our waste. And one more thing I wanted to say was that the DRS, deposit return system, as opposed to BYO. BYO is like the first defense against plastic pollution that anybody can participate. You don't need any money. You can use spaghetti jars. It's so simple, and it's the first step. And a DRS can be complicated, and we don't know how many years it will take for the full deployment of it across every, corner of your neighborhood, food vendors and festivals and small hole in the wall kind of, eateries and things like that. So BYO there is no money in BYO. So like, unlike DRS where, some big corporations are eyeing on some of the like reuse businesses, like for example, PR3, it's an NGO that promotes pushing for the standardization of container sizes across the globe. Their funders is actually gold and diamond miners, and it's on their website. So we have to think about, like, when people are so wary of plastic, what's next? Do we, BYO has a significant role, in my opinion. It activates the community and bring awareness about plastic pollutions and solid waste crisis in general. So there's so much to this simple act of putting a sticker on. So I just wanted to say that And the reason I asked about the anonymous map was because I have something else in mind personally, because we are doing dumpster study. We live in a college town, and we have so much things in dumpsters. People are throwing away good things, good food, perfectly fine food, furnitures, no problems, like toasters, microwaves, fans, everything in the dumpster that's all going to the landfill. And so like we were doing this dumpster study, and I was looking for the way to allow people to anonymously pin the map. So that's why I was in my mind, and I wanted to ask what kind of app you used for that map. Maybe I should talk to your friend in Trashless Takeaway who helped you. But like that's why I asked. But yeah, well, thank you so much. It was so interesting and